Thank you for tuning in to Connect More, featuring the shared experiences, new adventures, and nightmares of four pals who have known each other for decades. Connect More utilizes the swear jar concept to raise funds for the American Cancer Society. When you hear this during the episode, the offender will contribute to the swear jar. We'll update the swear jar each week at the end of the program. We hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome to another episode of Connect More. I'm Eric. There's John.
What's going on?
That's Brian.
Greetings.
And that's Jason.
Welcome.
On this episode of Connect More, Jason and I chat AI. John and Brian find out how many licks it takes to get to the center of Amara Sandia. And then we'll whip around on some sports cinema. But first, guys, what a heck of a winter already, right? I mean, early on, we had more snow than we've had here in the Midwest in a long time, and earlier than we've seen it. It started in November and early December, and then the sub-zero that we've been through the last few weeks. So we're done with it. We're looking forward to springing into spring. And what's a sign for you guys? A lot of people always look for the robin, right? For me, when I start hearing the kids driving down the road blasting the Beach Boys, then I know it's springtime, right?
What, do you live in Santa Monica? What are you talking about?
Waxing up the surfboard.
I thought that was your cue to move.
Yeah, exactly.
So as Ruben knows from listening to past episodes, I apparently am the only person on the planet who doesn't like the Beach Boys. But seriously, for me, it's March Madness starting. I know that's a little bit earlier than spring, but I feel like when the NCAA basketball tournament starts off with the bracket of, 230 teams now? That's a joke. You can laugh.
That's right. That's right.
Well, you made me check my math. I'm like, shit, are there really 230
It could be
teams?
230.
If you count the
I don't
conference
pay attention
tournaments,
that
yes.
closely. Come on.
If you count the conference tournaments, yes.
Yeah, so I say March Madness. That's when I start feeling like we're getting the green grass and the nice weather soon. John, what's your sign?
This is hyper-local, but it's the girls' basketball state tournament and the accompanying snowstorm. And so there's lore that it always snows. And I looked this up, and it hasn't. It did it last year, and it hadn't done it since 2014. And it's all built off this 1959 major blizzard that caused people to be locked in, having to stay overnight at Veterans Auditorium. And that's where the lore comes from. And so it's right, it's right around like the 13th-ish. We always get hammered by that one storm. And then I think we're okay after that.
Yeah, that's a good one. We usually have a county conference out there around that time, and yeah, the weather is always questionable, and that is a good lore for Iowa. And yours is right around kind of the time that mine starts too, so pretty close. Jason, what's your sign?
Well, every day when I go to work, I drive into Dubuque between these two big bluffs, and for all winter, they're gray and leafless trees, and it's just very not depressing, but it's just very wintry looking all the time. And it seems like just overnight, all of a sudden, wham, they're green. Like, it doesn't like slowly get green. All of a sudden, they're just green on both sides. I'm like, oh, spring is here apparently. So it's almost like one of those Bugs Bunny cartoons where where he's like ripping the calendar pages off, and it's like flipping through the
Yes.
seasons. It's like, wham! Oh, I guess we're in spring. So that's kind of mine.
So a nice drive is Jason's.
Yep.
Brian, what's your spring sign?
Well, I would say one of them is when all of our allergies act up, right?
Yeah.
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 That's a key one.
Or get worse.
Unfortunately.
For some of us that do them all year, they just get worse.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And my other one is like Good Friday.
Oh.
So I grew up, I'm Norwegian heritage mostly, and my grandfather actually passed away on Good Friday. He planted his potatoes on Good Friday and then passed away that night. And so that's kind of like we're turning the corner. It's usually, first, second week of April at the latest. So yeah, I always think about that.
That's beautiful, man. You said Norwegian and potato, so you don't have to say Lutheran, but you could.
It's assumed.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right. Well, the warm-up's coming soon, that's for sure. So just as we unwrap in springtime, let's unwrap some candy.
This is You Gonna Finish That. We were raised on frozen pizza, Lunchables, and rainbow Kool-Aid packets. And somehow that made us full-fledged foodies and adult beverage snobs. Now we're here to tell you what's worth savoring and what belongs straight down the garbage disposal. This is You Gonna Finish That? And on this very special episode of You Gonna Finish That, the guys do the unthinkable and try candy gifted to Eric from the lovely Cricket, niece of Ruben, on a recent trip to San Antonio, much of it made in Mexico. The reviews are coming in hot. Brian, what do you got for us? How do we make these decisions?
All right. So we did this by letter grade. So A would be great, would definitely have it again. B, I would call that pretty good, would probably have that again. C, I would call that very average. Probably wouldn't have it again. D, not very good. Probably would not have it again. F, horrible. Never, ever, ever, ever coming in the house again. Right?
Now, when you say we, you mean you and your work wives, correct?
Yes. So
Okay,
when,
just
when I,
wanted to
when I
clarify.
tested them, I actually
That's
tested.
not this we, not us. It's you and your
Yeah,
coworkers.
we
Okay.
tested one with, well, we actually tested one of these with Mrs. Roper. And then she said, nope, no more.
You went full committee.
And so I took it to work and ended up giving them, we tested them out there and then ended up giving the rest of them to the lovely Miss Demonice.
Can you tell us which one Mrs. Roper gonged?
That was this Squinkles Salsa Scatty.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
With or
So
without the sauce.
where did they end up? Where did you end up gifting these to?
I'm giving to a coworker. Her name is Demonice. She is Latina, grew up in Chicago, but goes to Mexico all the time, and she was familiar with all these. And so she saw that bag, and she had a Pavlovian response. She started, her mouth was watering. She was just like, "Wow!"
So we had like the Snickers and Hershey's of Mexico, is what you're telling me.
Pretty much.
That's wild. All right, we're gonna get going on the reviews here. So the pica fresa, which I'm gonna get every one of these wrong. Everyone will be wrong. Pica fresa was the little round one. Brian, what do you got on that one?
I gave that one a C-. So that was a strawberry gummy. It was good. I mean, it was okay, but I probably would not have that again. I don't like my food touching. I don't like the spicy. I don't like the spicy sweet thing. Don't like it.
I'm big mega dittos with Weenus on the C- on that one.
So I
thought that
went
was
with
the
the-
best one, but
I went with a C, and I said flavorful but tart, and not sure whether it was a hard candy or not. And Jason, I cut you off. What were you?
no, sorry. It's just I thought that was the best one of the bunch. I thought it had a really good strawberry kind of flavor, a little hint of spice, but not that spicy. I don't know. I thought it was good. I liked the consistency of it.
You're on crack.
It was spicy, but not hot. None of these were hot spicy.
Correct.
No, they weren't.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, right.
None of them were even spicy. What are you talking about?
I thought they,
Oh,
I
they
thought
just
they
had a little
good
chili.
spice.
They had a little
None
chili
of them
flavor.
were
Mister
even.
Bite the habanero in half.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was not
I'm gonna
anything
do-
like that.
I give
I'm
you
gonna
all
I'm gonna
things
rename this show.
capsaicin.
I'm gonna rename the show Eric and the Spice Pussies. I think.
Oh my god.
Well, no, it's just but
What
compared
kind of
to
spice? There
American
was no spice.
compared to American candy that has zero
No
spice,
spice.
this
Yeah.
had plenty of spice.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have Pulparindo, which was the rectangular one. Spicy fruit taste, soft. There was a white substance that looked like mold, but I looked it up and it was fine. It was their version of a preservative. Most of these candies don't have any preservatives on it, which I think was fantastic. It like changed the taste. It also changed like what you would expect in a candy. I gave that one a B+. Pulparindo.
Ooh.
Brian, what do you got?
All right. So that was made with tamarind. It was a tamarind pulp candy. I gave that one a C- also. But the texture on that was not good at all. It was like sandpaper. I was just did not like it.
Again, I'm with you, Brian. I went D+ on that. It was like to me, it was trying to be like a fruit roll up, but the texture was just off. The flavor was just okay, but I couldn't get through the texture.
Jason,
But Jason loved it apparently.
No, I gave it a B+.
Jason's all about it.
I thought it was
Yeah.
good.
Oh, good.
I
Good.
liked that it
See,
was a
we're
little
in the
more.
same place.
It was a little spicier. I didn't mind I didn't mind the consistency of it. I don't know.
Yeah, the texture didn't bother me either. On that one, I didn't think about it at all.
Did I get a bad? I'm going back to try this stuff again.
You
There
got
was
a
no
bad batch?
spice. I don't understand. What's the next one?
It is the Squinkles Salsa Getty. And so this came in a tray and it had watermelon flavored stringy parts and then a little packet that you poured over like a, I don't know, it was like a glorified soy sauce. And so I thought, well, let's start with Brian on this one.
I gave that one a D. I like the watermelon part, but as soon as you put that salsa on there, oof. And I just did not. I normally I just did not like it. I'll give that one a D.
So I'm close to you again but I gotta say, I like the salsa Getty without the sauce. Like it was a
Yes.
watermelon licorice.
That
I
part was
really
great.
liked it without the sauce. And as soon as I
Yes.
put the sauce on it, straight down to D.
Yeah.
A to D.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're going to throw hands on this one because I thought this was fine across the board. I gave this an A.
What?
Yes, it tastes like Jolly Ranchers. It got a strong watermelon taste. It was fun with the little strings. That was a fun activity that went with the eating of the candy.
You like
I
the
would have
sauce?
really enjoyed this as a young person. And when I put the sauce on it, yeah, I would say it hit it a little bit. It was better without, but it didn't really bother me. This is the hit of the bunch for sure.
Well, you see, because a very common flavor conversation is like sweet with a little savory, right? That's common. Sour with salty is disgusting. This was sour salty. That is so gross.
There's plenty of sweet there. Again, you're on crack.
Does anyone find the irony in Jason not liking sour and salty? Is this? Did everyone miss
about?
this?
Because he's so much sunshine and lollipops. Always.
That's on his
Speaking of lollipops,
Speaking of lollipops, Eric, beat me to it. Was it Eric? I'm just gonna clear the way and let you do speaking of lollipops. Go.
no, look, the Mara Sandia, right? It's a sucker. It had
That it is.
It was a sucker, and it
As
had
it
a
is.
coarse exterior on it, which I think was like supposed to like be chilies and stuff. And again, I'm just gonna say, I didn't find this one spicy at all because I was hoping that it was gonna be that watermelon sucker with a good spice around it, and I didn't find it. I found that first of all, the coarse exterior kind of not very pleasant, but it was almost floral to me, and I couldn't finish it. Like I took a couple licks and bit into it to get the gist of it, so I put a C- on it.
Brian, what do you got?
C- also. It's the watermelon covered in chili. No, thank you.
It was really
gave
hard
it-
to eat. I mean, because it was just
Yeah,
so
yes.
abrasive on your tongue. Like,
Yes.
unless you crunched it, it was almost inedible.
Yes.
For sure. And so rough texture, grainy, heavy plant taste. It was like a plant.
Yeah,
And it took a long time. I gave it 15 minutes. That's all I could do. I was worried you guys would make fun of me for abandoning it after that period of time. And it sounds like everybody did that. And I said, do not attempt. This is a D.
I mean, I did go at mine. I tried to finish it. It took me 45 minutes.
oh my goodness.
Well, because you can't just lick it because it's like, God dang it, it's like licking sandpaper.
Listeners, there is an entire series of jokes that I am not doing here, and I'm going to continue not doing. Please carry on.
You mean that's what she said?
Tell you what. So I feel
I licked
bad.
it for 45 minutes.
Exactly. Why would you lick anything for 45 minutes straight? What compels you to do that?
So I almost feel bad that I didn't like at least one of these like a lot, right? I figured this is gonna go better than I thought it would. Sorry, Cricket.
We love you, Cricket, but not the candy.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, no, the irony Well, the irony being, Weenus, when you texted Ruben about your little taste test, he was like, "Oh, that's disgusting. I would never eat that."
Yeah.
Yep.
Take
Seriously?
it from the locals.
Yes.
Listen to the locals. My
Yeah.
God.
He's like, you're more Mexican than me, brother. What the hell?
And Ruben likes his candy too.
He
And he
does.
doesn't
Oh,
even
yeah.
like this. Yeah.
Now that we all have a tummy ache, it's time for Jason to talk to us about artificial intelligence.
We've learned a lot over the years, mainly by ignoring all advice and making every possible mistake ourselves. The hard way is where we share the bumps, bruises, and belated wisdom that came from taking the scenic and slightly painful route through life. So, we need to, all of us in our daily lives are being assaulted by artificial intelligence in many different formats all the time. We've touched upon this a little bit in previous pod episodes, but I thought we'd take a crack at deciding how are we adjusting to this life with AI in lots of different aspects of our life. Have we talked with our kids about it? Are our kids explaining it to us? Or are we explaining it to them? Or is it valuable? Are we on the tech curve? Where are we at here? So, how are you seeing this manifest itself in your life there, Jocko? And how are you dealing with it?
Yeah, I gotta say, I kind of been just testing out this AI thing for probably going on 3 years now, and I had to be talked into it, right? A peer of mine, we were talking about I need a policy for something, and he was saying, "Yeah, you know what? I just did one of those, and I used AI to generate most of it." And he sent me what he had, and it looked pretty good. And then I had another thing I had to do like that, and I just kind of used it, and it was mostly okay. It was a good shell for stuff. And then I kind of dropped out of it again, but now I got back into it here recently, and I still use it for writing policies. And actually, I've used it for trying to sharpen scripts for this show, or maybe researching topics, because one thing, when we do like we're doing in the whip around when we're going to talk about sports cinema, like instead of me going to five different I could Google, best sports movies and then click on five different ones to compile my own list. But AI will do that, much quicker, and it's all right there for me. So it's a good place to start. I've used it to look up, law and stuff like that. And Jason, you do, I mean, a lot of research for the places
Mhm,
you go to when you do brainstorming and stuff.
mhm.
Are you using this in in your work, or even in your work sessions?
Yeah, it has been pretty useful in lots of ways. One of the things that I'm very cautious about, and I think this is something that this is the advice that I would probably give young people who are struggling with or see this as the easy way to get things done more quickly, is sometimes the process is the product. Sometimes, especially because I do a lot of collaboration, like in small towns or in nonprofit organizations where teams have to get together and produce something. Now, before I go into that meeting, I could ask ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever, hey, could you please create a strategic plan for this mid-sized nonprofit that does this kind of work? Here's their mission statement. Here's all the stuff about them. Here's the link to their website. Write them a new strategic plan. I could do that, and I could bring that to them, and in most cases they'd be like, "Oh, that's great. Let's go." But to me, it's more the process of them doing that themselves is actually what I need them to do. I need them to talk to each other about what they care about. I need them to set the priorities. And even if it's not as clean or as polished or even as professional as what I could get out of ChatGPT, the process of them doing that together, that's why I am there.
Yeah.
It's not that final product really.
Yeah, there's a certain flavor that some of this still needs. Like even when I use it, I mentioned how I used it to maybe sharpen scripts for the show that I use. And honestly, I don't usually use those verbatim because they're good. It's a nice second opinion. Maybe it'll give me a line that I like. And I'll still need to take that out and do something to make it mine, right? Another thing that I've found with this too is, especially when it comes to researching law, like I research Code of Iowa stuff around elections and around county budgets and stuff, is that sometimes um, there's some updated stuff going on with those laws that it doesn't necessarily always catch. And I know there's something new out there, and it doesn't sometimes catch that. So totally relying on it right now is maybe not the best thing, but I think it's still, a decent place to start. Again, it'll help you gather some things faster, your launch pad, if you will.
Yeah, one of the things that I find myself using it for, and pod related especially, is if I want something like for images or videos, because I'm not a graphic designer and I am not going to design like these images and stuff, nor would I hire someone and pay them to do it. But it's kind of a fun, goofy thing that I can do now very easily in AI, and up it goes. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So I
Yeah.
will do that kind of thing for social media or whatever, but I don't use it a lot for work. Because again, one of the other things that I do for work a lot is, and Jocko, from like the work I did in Clinton, like we get all these responses from the community about
Yes.
what would make their little town even better, what they love about their town. And
Yeah.
then my team goes through and sorts all that data and creates these kind of value statements about what they love about their town. Now, they could take all that data and put it into a chatbot, and it would give them their heart and soul statements or whatever in like 3 seconds. But again, it's the process of them sitting down at a table and talking about those little data points and which pile should this one go in. And I don't know, how would you code that one? Is that an asset for this town, or is that actually a deficit? I need them to talk about that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Um,
So I don't use it a lot for that kind of stuff. Just I use it a lot for things like this grant application needs it says you can only have 500 words and I've got 750. Hey, ChatGPT, turn this thing into 500 words. Bam.
Perfect. But you're
Fine.
still proofreading that thing,
Well, and
right?
I
I mean,
wrote the first version of it.
yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
shrink it down because I just don't want to sit here
Yeah.
and dink around taking out
Yeah.
every that and the and as and commas and give me a
Yeah.
break. It's not worth my time.
And so, Brian, I know you and I kind of probably researched kind of the same things in a different manner a little bit, but law and finance and stuff. But
Mhm.
you had mentioned in an earlier show you were going to start maybe using AI more. And has that come through? Has it been helping you?
Not too much yet. It does for like research, things like that. If I need to find something quick in, let's say, Internal Revenue Code or, maybe State of Iowa code, something like that. If I need to do research, because what it does for me is I get a question to find something, but unlike a Google search, it will ask me more questions to get me to where I need to go. And that's the part I like, so that
Mhm.
I've used it for that. So I kind of like that feature of it.
And that's actually, it's funny you mentioned that because it's one of the things I find myself struggling to do is you can ask AI follow-up questions. And I think there's something very polite and Midwestern where it's like, oh, I don't want to bug AI again. It's like, I don't want to ask him to redo that picture.
This is a
It's
lot
like,
of
wait a
work.
minute.
I mean,
I can
I'm
ask
asking
AI
my
to do
buddy
it
here to
again.
do a ton of work. I just asked him to do. He just made me this long list.
I
I don't want
know.
to make him do. I have that same thought process. And I'll just jump in and say, when I got into this probably 6, 8 months ago, it was glorified Google, and the only way I could think about it was this is going to help my Google become like a narrative rather than a list of links I have to click on. And it's really gone beyond that for me as I get into things like membership projection across a bunch of markets. And like, I don't want to look at all the whole spreadsheet and try to find the box that popped, right? You do that for me. Tell me what moved, what's interesting, what's up, what's down beyond a certain range. And then the second thing is, this is going to sound a little goofy, but I think this thing might be a weapon that helps us fight back against all of this fire hose of disinformation we have out there in the world, including on social media. When I ask it to go fact check something and to tell me whether something is true, it will get me as close as it can to, with public information to the information that would support an idea. So then I don't have to like read something on Facebook and try and decide whether it's true or go through 700 comments and decide for myself. I just have ChatGPT go play with it for a while. And a great simple example of this was when the Bears had that great comeback win in the divisional round, there were only like 4 other games where that had ever happened. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. I feel like that maybe has happened more often than that. So I made ChatGPT tell me which 4 games that was. Right. And so I have it on my phone. I've got it on both the work and home laptop, and it's just becoming a really integrated part of, for me, for that. Like if I hear something and I'm like, I don't think that's right, I make ChatGPT do the work on it.
I think all of us, and our listeners included, are all startled that the one person on the show using ChatGPT AI is John, especially after listening to that 7.5-minute speech he gave about zombies right off the top of his head in that episode a few episodes ago.
I did not actually have notes for the zombie screed. I
Oh,
do
no.
better.
We
I
know.
do better.
We know.
I do better with the bullets.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. No. I guess one thing I want to throw in here before we transition is I do want to think about about younger folks and how they're using it, because I did ask Frank. I've asked him I asked him a lot about how he and his peers are using AI. And the troubling thing, and he's pretty clear-eyed about it, and I think from everything he tells me, he's doing a nice job balancing it out. But he said that he has some peers who talk to it like it's a person and ask it personal questions and relationship advice and, oh, my mom's being such a bitch, what should I do, and da-da-da-da. And it's like, what? And that's where it starts to get in trouble for me, because I think, again, you should be talking to humans about this, because it's not about the answer you're getting. It's about the relationship or the trust you're building with a real person is more important than getting the best advice that Google or Gemini or whatever is searching for. That's really not the point.
Apparently,
So that's very troubling.
Be flattering too. They will over flatter, which can
Right.
send you into this cycle of it. So I'm not
Yes.
familiar with any of it, but I have read about it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it tells you what you want to hear, which is not sometimes what you want when someone's giving you advice. Sometimes you want them to knock your head together with something else and say, no, you're being an idiot. But AI probably isn't going to do that. So I think that's something we all need to keep our eyes on. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling just a little bit artificial and certainly less intelligent. So I think it's time to get whipped.
No doubt someone's wondering where we are by now. So before we get called back to reality, let's stick and move with some quick takes, facts, fast laughs, and then we're out. It's time for a good old-fashioned whip around.
Whip around!
The whip around.
All right,
Whip around.
quick and dirty. This is whip around, not a segment. Got it, boys?
What are you trying to say?
You got the gavel, boy.
You know who the problem is.
All right, 3 lines. Best sports movie ever made. You decide the definition of sport. I'm going to start with Jackson.
All right. I decided to go with one that I really enjoyed a lot when I was a kid, and I thought it was just so cool. It stars 2 of the biggest movie stars of all time, The Color of Money, Tom Cruise and Paul Newman in the same movie. Young, cocky Tom Cruise and old, wizened Paul Newman teaching him the ropes.
Vince.
That's it.
That's good. That's
That's a good,
very
great soundtrack.
Oh,
Great
great
acting.
soundtrack. Yes.
Very
yes.
tight scenes.
Oh.
It was almost like
Yeah.
a stage play. They didn't go many places.
And of course, it
Yes.
builds upon The Hustler, that Paul
Yeah.
Newman was in
Sure.
when he was Tom Cruise's age, but it's
Yeah.
not caught up in that. It's not fussy about that connection. We know
No.
that, but it's not a huge part of the movie. Love it.
also could be because we're talking about not necessarily our favorites. We're talking about like best sports movies, and you can
Yeah.
throw The Hustler onto that list as well. So,
Sure. Yep.
Nice.
Absolutely.
nice.
I love that somebody already did Pool. That's fantastic.
All
and
right.
of course, The Hustler was Jackie Gleason and Paul Newman.
Yeah,
What the
very
heck?
good.
I mean, fantastic.
All right. Let's go with Jocko.
Well, in the opening and whip around, we talk about stick and move, right? And to me, boxing is just made for cinema. Only baseball comes even close to having the drama that can be thrown up on a big screen. So my answer, especially for you cats, is very obvious. Yo, Adrian, it's Rocky. It's gotta be Rocky. This movie has great performances. It's an inspirational movie about the American dream, a classic romance. It's got Burgess Meredith saying you're gonna eat lightning and you're gonna crap thunder. Come on, this is such a great movie. And I had a few boxing movies on my list because I'm very serious. I think boxing is great for cinema, but of all those great boxing movies too, it's Rocky.
All right, I'm gonna go with mine. So mine's also a boxing movie.
That's right.
Because I agree with Jocko, but mine is When We Were Kings.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
The documentary from
Good
1996
Yes.
about the Rumble in Jungle
Yeah.
that took place in Africa.
Yep.
It was about the fight with Muhammad Ali and George Foreman.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Wait, he did more than Grills?
Yeah, he did more than girls. It's true.
Really?
He used to be a boxer. He was a very good boxer, and people were
kidding.
scared shitless of him.
Yes.
He was undefeated going into that fight, and it goes. So the great part about that movie is, it's not the fight itself. It's all the stuff. It's the concert. It was an event. They went through all the background for that. They went through so they had a big concert with all these American, world artists at that. So you got to see James Brown at his best back then. Those clips are excellent. And also
it had the culture of the time in that movie.
That's a
Yes.
great observation, man. That's
Yes.
like in Rocky IV, that's what they were trying to do, was that James Brown performance. Like, this is a great call out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if you don't know too much about Muhammad Ali and why people loved him, you'll know after watching that movie. He was a man of the people.
Good
Yep.
point. Yep.
And that's why people really loved him all throughout the world.
Well, it's hard to imagine now, especially, George
Yeah.
Foreman was such a villain in
Yeah.
that movie. And now he's
Yes.
like, I'm Mr. Happy Grill guy. It's
Yeah.
like, Jesus, he was such a mean bastard.
He was an imposing boxer, was
Yeah.
he not?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So just it's colorful, it's a great story. Recommend it to everybody. That's an excellent one. All right, so let's go with John's choice.
We're going to close it out with baseball. The greatest sports movie ever made is called The Natural. It features Robert Redford, Glenn Close, Wilford Brimley, and Randy Newman's Oscar-winning score. It was the first of the 80s baseball movies, and it set the stage for all of those to get made. It runs on themes of loss and redemption, grit alongside talent as the recipe for success, and it messes with magic realism about what's really possible when you build the myth and the retelling of the story over time. And there's nobody who doesn't get goosebumps when they see the lights go out and the stars fall on the turf after the home run with that score in the background. And you can hear it right now as I'm talking. And I'm sorry, that is a dramatically impactful film.
What you just
The
said,
Natural.
which was, by the way, my top baseball movie too. Yeah.
My top baseball movie was Bull Durham. I almost mentioned that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's by far my favorite baseball movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Again, but like in the area of like best ever made. I mean, for favorites, we could talk all day about baseball, but I love Moneyball.
Yeah.
Moneyball's a great movie, but Bull Durham's a great movie too. But
Absolutely.
especially Bull Durham, genre movie, right? That's a romantic comedy movie, right? So now we are going to break down into these categories. Eric, Moneyball gets quoted in my house at least weekly, not always by me. I almost went with an obscure boxing movie. This is what's wild about us as a podcast is you guys were singing boxing and I came in with baseball, but I have this movie
Nice.
called Digstown. It's a James Woods movie from the early 90s. And it's actually a con movie that is all about amateur boxing. And it truly is both a testament to the sport, like a big story about the sport itself and about a con man in the South.
Yep, fully agree. That was an excellent movie. All right, we're officially whipped. The swear jar amount to benefit American Cancer Society is now up to $198 fucking dollars. Wow.
Boom!
Holy cow.
Fuck yes.
Closing credits, please.
Thank you for listening to Connect More. I'm the producer. Please subscribe and like this podcast because it's my only chance of getting paid for this gig. Connect More is a product of Pantiger LLC and is hosted by Brian Danielson, Eric Van Lanker, Jason Nisus, and John Hedgecoff. Connect More is edited by me and Jocko. The showrunners are Jax, Hedge, and Weenus. Theme music written and recorded by Ryan Veeder. Cover art designed by Leon Golden. Musical director is Evil. Legal liaison is Brian. Lead writers are John and Eric. Runner-up writers are Jason and Captain Danielson. Publication coordinator is Jax. Special thanks to GVC, Aaron, Miss Roper, and Yoko. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure to follow Connect More on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.